how Hamza changed my life. Now, I remember when I was 13 years old. Yeah, 13. Yeah. When I was 13 years old, that was the hardest period of my life. I was depressed. I wanted to commit suicide. Wanted to kill myself, literally. Like, I hated my life in every single way possible. I hated my life. Now, let me just paint the picture here. I was skinny fat. I had a fat belly, and my arms and legs were very skinny. You know, I used to jack off and fap and watch porn maybe 3-4 times a day, and maybe even 5 times a day sometimes. It was crazy. I used to eat tons of shit food, junk food, worst food possible, like fried foods that destroy your testosterone, like any bad food you could think of, any incel food you could think of, I would eat that, you know. Very soft foods like bread and French fries and chicken, basically like white people food. Nah, I'm joking. I also had a severe addiction to video games. And video games literally were my life because it was the only thing that had meaning to my life. It was the only thing I was making progress in. I wasn't making any progress in real life. I hated school, of course. I still hate school to this day, but I hated hard effort. You know, I hated doing hard things, and I was very feminine. You know, I liked love and being soft, and I hated being a man. You know. I used to always go to Instagram, but I always like to go to Instagram to look at hot girls, you know, and watch them and their big no, I don't want to get on this side. This is the first video actually. So I really like to go to Instagram to look at girls and jack off to them and jack off to Pornhub, and it was a mess. It was a mess, and I totally hated my life. I treated everyone like shit. Like, I hated my life completely hated my life. I was depressed for the whole year. I think I was depressed the whole year. Now, what changed this? I'm gonna be honest. What changed this? I remember I went to a trip with my family to Lebanon, and this trip was fun. You know, I ate the food and went around Lebanon. Lebanon is a very beautiful place, but I remember strictly I used to watch every single guy. He would have a lot hot Lebanese women on his right arm. Every single guy, you know, every single guy. He used to have a hot Lebanese girl on his arm, and he would be walking like this, yeah. And that made me rage. I felt so lonely. I felt like I hated myself because at that time no girl would look at me. No girl would ever feel attracted to me because I was skinny fat and I had a shit life to begin with, yeah. And I remember this vividly. I went back to the hotel room and I wrote on YouTube how to get girls. How to get girls, because I felt so lonely and I liked the girl at school, and that girl never looked at me. She never even I never even talked to her, but I was obsessed with this girl. I constantly thinking about her, cuddling my pillow and thinking about her all the time, and she would never even bother, you know. I went on how to get girls on YouTube and I found Hamza's videos, and I got obsessed with them because I also my attention span was shit. It was absolute shit. I couldn't even focus for 5 seconds. My mind would wander, and that I also had social anxiety. I couldn't even speak to anyone because my mind would keep wandering into thoughts. I couldn't even be present, you know. And I watched Hamza, and he was saying that all the things you hear him say, you know, don't be needy, build your physique up, be a man, be more masculine, all these things. And these things are true. They are very true. And I remember I went back to my home country, which is Egypt. I'm from Egypt. And I went back at home and I just put it as a goal, because he said the single most important thing, or the single greatest thing you can do, yeah, to become more attractive to girls, is build an attractive body. I remember that vividly. So I went to my room and I just kept looking at my room. How can I build a great physique, And he always said, do push-ups, pull-ups, and squats. Just do push-ups, pull-ups, and squats. And I started doing that. But it was so hard. I hated it. It was very fatiguing. I also found two dumbbells that were 2 kg. So always I used to do like this, and like this, and push-ups and pull-ups and all these things. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And I remember I started like playing, the edits where they're like reject modernity, or embrace masculinity, all those cringy ass edits. I used to play them and like keep doing like this, keep doing like this, keep doing like this, And I remember like after like 1 or 2 months, I was doing like this in front of my window, because like my window's like reflecting, and I saw like my arm grew, like it pumped up. And that was the best feeling in the world. It was the best thing. Like even though it was like a fucking pump, it didn't even last, but it made me feel amazing. Like Arnold says, like getting a pump is like coming. That's what I felt, So I kept working out. All these like weird workouts, don't even know what I'm doing. I used to do like very lightweight, like 2 kilograms for like tons of reps. And I kept doing this and it hurt and it sucked, but when I saw that single bit of progress, it just made me like keep going, And the weird thing is, when I did that, every single bad habit I had, or not every single one, but most of them, I nearly stopped doing them. Because I just had a purpose. In my life. Hamza was always saying as well that you should read, you should meditate. And I started doing those things actually, with working out. But I kept working out for like a long period of time, and then I started reading books. The first ever book I read, which was How to Win Friends and Influence People. I go get this book. And it totally changed everything for me, because I always had like social anxiety, and I couldn't even speak to, not even girls, boys. I couldn't even speak to boys, man. Like I had like the worst position of all. So I started reading, and then I started meditating for like 1 or 2 minutes a day, and I kept increasing these things slowly, like reading more, meditating more, and then going to the gym, and then I added journaling, and then I added what else? I started sleeping early, all these things, and slowly but surely my physique improved. I learned a lot of books. I read all these books. All these books, and I'm now meditating for like 30 minutes a day, because I'm now like 15, I'm almost 16, so I've been doing self-improvement for 2 to 3 years now. I have a physique better than 99% of people. I read all these books, I work out like I said, I meditate for 30 minutes, I journal every day, I sleep early every day, I have a routine, and I feel so much better. Like self-improvement and Hamza changed my life completely. I'm so happy. I never get depressed ever. I love my life, I love myself, I love life. Like this is such a good feeling when you're on self-improvement, when you're making progress. When I'm recording this video, like you just feel amazing, because the greatest emotion we could feel ever is fulfillment. Ever. It's the greatest, or the highest degree of emotion we could feel. The lowest degree of emotion we could ever feel is guilt. It's the worst thing ever. And why was I depressed when I was like 13? Because I had so much freaking guilt. Because I did all the bad habits, like I'm telling you. I used to masturbate, I used to watch porn, I used to eat junk food, do all these shit things, you know? And now life has never been so sweet. Now, what am I planning to do with this channel? I know I'm not at the level of Hamza at all, but I'm gonna try to be like the new Hamza or the new guy for self-improvement, because Hamza, let's be honest, right now he's like he's fell off a bit. He's like, I don't watch him as I used to. I used to watch him every single day, like 10 videos, you know? So yeah, I'll try my best, and I've learned a lot of lessons along my journey. And as always, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.